早晨好。It is so good to be here with you this morning.
很高兴今天能在这里跟大家在一起。
And I wish I could say more in Chinese. Actually, my wife is Chinese.
我希望我可以用中文再讲更多的话。我的太太她本身就是一个华人。
I'm a very blessed man.
我是一个非常有福的男人。
My wife is from Hong Kong.
我的太太是香港人。
And we met in Israel.
我们在以色列遇见的。
My wife grew up in a Buddhist family.
她从小是在一个佛教家庭长大。
I grew up in a Jewish family.
我在一个犹太家庭长大。
When a Jewish man marries a Chinese woman,
当一个犹太男人跟一个华人的女人结婚的时候，
our children come out sweet and sour.
我们的小孩他是又酸又甜。
So I have a brief time with you this morning, but what I would like to do is share something very near and dear to my heart.
那虽然我们今天早上时间是非常简短的，但是我想跟你们分享我内心很在意的一件事情。
I'm the academic dean of Israel College of the Bible.
我是以色列圣经学院的教务长。
We are the only Hebrew-speaking accredited evangelical Bible college in the world.
我们是唯一的用希伯来文授课的那个被认可的一个圣经学院，在全世界当中。
And one thing I can say is that everybody has an opinion about Israel everywhere I go.
我想说的是，就是我在世界各地不管到哪里，我都可以听到有人对于以色列有他的一个看法。
I know you're at a seminary, and so I'm sure you have theological opinions about Israel.
因为你们在一个神学院，所以我相信你们一定对以色列有一个神学的看法。
You turn on the television, and I'm sure you have political understandings of Israel and opinions.
那你们打开电视，我相信你们一定有对于以色列有一些政治的看法。
But it is really interesting that every year we get millions of Christian tourists that come through Israel.
那每一年有好几百万的基督徒的游客会到以色列。
And they all run where Jesus walked.
那他们在耶稣走过的地方，他们都用跑的。
And they go home.
然后他们回家。
And they don't realize that God is still at work in that land.
那他们没有发觉，就是上帝在那一块地上仍然在做工。
They don't realize that God is changing the lives and hearts of people there through the gospel.
他们没有发觉，就是神他透过福音在那里改变人心。
But I would say probably the best kept secret is something that God is doing among Jews and Arabs in Israel.
那我相信一个最大的一个大家所不知道的事情，就是神在以色列在那边改变犹太人。
And at our seminary,
在我们的神学院。
Our students are Jewish and Arab believers in Jesus.
我们的学生是犹太人以及阿拉伯人，他们信耶稣的。
We're not fighting.
我们没有打架。
We're not arguing.
我们也没有争辩。
We are together praying for one another and seeking ways to do the Great Commission together.
我们为彼此祷告，然后我们一起想办法，一起合作，可以去完成大使命。
And so what I hope to do today is to challenge you.
所以我今天想要做的事情是挑战你们。
If you are here this morning and you don't like the Jewish people,
如果你今天在这边，但是你不太喜欢犹太人，
by the time we leave today, I pray that God will give you a passion for the Jewish people.
那今天我们结束的时候，我希望神给你们对犹太人有一个火热的心。
If you're here this morning and you don't like the Arabs,
那如果你今天在这里，但是你并不喜欢阿拉伯人，
I pray that by the time you leave, you will have God's love for the Arabs.
那我希望我们今天结束的时候，你对阿拉伯人也有从来自神的爱。
So what I would like to do is look at a passage that is actually not directly related to the Israeli-Arab conflict.
所以我们今天要看的一段经文，它并没有直接的去讲到以色列跟阿拉伯人的冲突。
It is not a political passage.
它并不是一个政治性的那个经文。
But the Muslims do believe that some of the Arabs are descended from Ishmael.
但是伊斯兰他们回教徒他们是相信他们是从以实玛利的后代。
There is no biblical support for that.
虽然那个并没有圣经上的支持。
But it is their identification as the sons of Ishmael.
但他们自认为自己是以实玛利的后代。
And of course, according to the scriptures, the Jewish people are descendants of Isaac.
那根据圣经，犹太人的确是以撒的后代。
So what I would like to do is look at this. I would actually like to compare Genesis 21 and 22 and use it as a way for us to maybe think creatively about the conflict between Jews and Arabs.
所以我们想透过创世纪21章和22章的比较，我们来看一下犹太人跟阿拉伯人冲突之间的关系。
But my prayer this morning is that you will not look at Israel through political eyes,
但我今天的祷告是，希望你们不是用政治的眼光来看犹太人，
but through biblical
而是
eyes.
透过圣经的眼光。
And that what will drive your thinking and praying about Israel is the Great Commission.
而你们去想到犹太人、以色列的时候，是大使命去激动你们。
So what we're going to do, if you don't mind opening your Bibles or your cell phones to Genesis 21 and 22, we're going to compare these passages.
所以，请你们把圣经翻到创世纪21、22章，那我们会去比较这段经文。
And the question I ask is, did our father Abraham sacrifice one son or two?
那我今天给大家的问题就是，我们的先祖亚伯拉罕他所奉献的是一个儿子还是两个儿子？
So how do you think about Jews and Arabs?
所以你怎么去看待犹太人和阿拉伯人？
In my experience, most people think about Jews and Arabs like they think about Coke and Pepsi.
我大部分遇到的人，他们认为犹太人跟阿拉伯人就像是可乐和百事可乐那样子。
You either love Coke and hate Pepsi,
你要么就是喜欢可口可乐，然后讨厌百事可乐，
or love Pepsi and hate Coke.
或者是喜欢百事可乐，然后讨厌可口可乐。
And I'm sad to say that oftentimes I find believers really divided on the issue of Jews and Arabs.
那我发现就是很多的信徒、基督徒，他们对于犹太人和阿拉伯人的事情上面，他们常常是看法非常极端。
And sadly, I very infrequently find people that really, really love Jews and Arabs both with God's heart.
那我很少看到有人，他们是真的带着神的心肠，去同时间爱阿拉伯人和犹太人。
So I want to challenge us to think biblically.
所以我想挑战大家用圣经的眼光来看待这件事。
So we're going to be looking at Genesis 21 and 22, and we're going to consider the following question.
所以我们会看创世纪21、22章，然后我们会思考以下的问题：
Was Abraham called to sacrifice one son or two?
就是亚伯拉罕他被神要求是献上一个儿子还是两个儿子？
The Muslims, Arabs and Muslims believe that they're the descendants of Ishmael and that Abraham sacrificed Ishmael, not Isaac.
所以阿拉伯人或穆斯林，他们相信的就是他们是以实玛利的后代，然后他们相信亚伯拉罕献上的是以实玛利，不是以撒。
And Jews and Christians obviously believing the Bible, we believe that God sacrificed Isaac, or Abraham was called to sacrifice Isaac.
所以犹太人和基督徒他们看圣经，然后他们认为说亚伯拉罕是献上是以撒。
But actually, I think the Bible gives us a bit more nuanced position.
但是我认为圣经里面其实还有一些微妙的地方。
There's a very close connection between the story of Hagar and Ishmael and Abraham and Isaac.
所以在夏甲还有以实玛利的故事，以及亚伯拉罕和以撒故事之间，其实有一些连结。
So I want to look at these two stories side by side.
所以我想要同时间去比较这两个故事。
I want you to notice, and I'm going to give you a list of all the comparisons between the two. We're going to go very quickly.
所以我们会有一张表，会去列这两个经文的两个对比。
So I want you to notice in both stories, in Genesis 21 and in Genesis 22, Abraham receives a command to let go of a son or sacrifice a son.
所以他在这两段经文里面，他有一个相同的，就是他都被神要求要去献上一个儿子，或是要去让一个儿子离开。
In Genesis 21:10, Sarah says to Abraham, "Drive out this son, drive out this slave and her son."
所以在创世纪21章10节的时候，撒来对亚伯拉罕说，就是你要把这个使女的儿子让他出去，把他赶出去。
And for you students of Hebrew, this is an imperative. It's a command.
所以对那些学过希伯来文的人来讲，这边他是用一个命令句。
And in Genesis 22 verse 2,
而在创世纪22章第2节，
God commands Abraham, "Take your son and offer him."
那神他命令亚伯拉罕要去献上他的儿子。
In both cases, Abraham gets a command to do something very painful with his sons.
所以在两个地方，我们都看到亚伯拉罕得到一个命令，就是他需要去对他的儿子做一些很残酷的事情。
Ishmael and Isaac are both his children.
以斯玛利以及以撒都是他的小孩。
Another comparison,
另外一个比较，
in both accounts, Abraham offers early morning obedience.
所以在两个地方，我们都看到亚伯拉罕一大早起来就顺服神。
In Genesis 21, verse 14,
在创世纪21章14节，
it says that Abraham got up early in the morning and he took certain items along with the child.
所以我们看见亚伯拉罕他一大早就起来，然后带了一些东西，还有孩子一起上路。
In almost identical Hebrew in the next chapter, in 22 verse 3, it says Abraham got up early in the morning and took some things as well as Isaac.
所以在几乎同样的用词，的叙述，在22章第3节，他也是亚伯拉罕一大早起来，然后带着小孩，还有一些东西。
The Hebrew is so similar that it is clear that Moses wants us to see the parallels between the two narratives.
那因为两段经文的用词几乎一模一样，所以我们可以看见摩西应该是刻意想要我们去注意到这两个经文的相同之处。
In both accounts, Abraham has to make very sacrificial preparations.
所以在两个地方，我们都可以看见亚伯拉罕他需要去做一些要准备去牺牲的一些行为。
In Genesis 21, verse 14,
在创世纪21章14节，
it says he took bread and a skin of water, and he gave it to Hagar by placing it upon her shoulder and the child.
所以14节他说，亚伯拉罕他拿饼还有一皮带的水给了夏甲，然后搭在他的肩上，又把孩子交给他。
In Genesis 22, verse 6,
在创世纪22章第6节，
and Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and put it upon his son, and he took in his hand the fire and the knife, and they went the two of them together.
第6节他说，亚伯拉罕把燔祭的柴放在他儿子以撒身上，自己手里拿着火与刀，于是二人同行。
In both accounts, there is something lacking that is necessary for the son's survival.
所以在两个经文里面，我们都看到，就是都有缺少一个东西，是可以让这两个小孩生存下来的。
In Genesis 21, verse 15,
在21章15节，
they run out of water.
他们没有水了。
In Genesis 22, verse 7,
在22章第7节，
there is no lamb.
没有羔羊。
In both accounts, the child is placed or located in a place of death.
所以在两个经文的地方，我们都看到小孩子他处在一个要死亡的一个地方。
In Genesis 21, verse 15, it says that Hagar flings the child, throws the child under one of the bushes.
所以在21章15节，我们看到夏甲他把小孩子撇在小树底下。
In Genesis 22, verse 9,
在22章第9节，
it says that Abraham went to the place God commanded him, and he built an altar, and he tied Isaac up and placed him on top of the wood on the altar.
所以在那边他们到了神所指示的地方，亚伯拉罕在那里筑坛，然后把柴摆好，然后捆绑他的儿子以撒，然后放在坛的柴上。
In both passages, it's the parent that initiates the death of the son.
所以在两个地方都是透过父母开始，然后去让小孩子他们要准备去死亡。
In Genesis 21, verse 16, after she throws Ishmael under the bushes, she sits and waits at a distance for her son to die.
21章第16节，夏甲他自己走开约有1箭之远，相对而坐，说，就在那边，然后准备要看着他的小孩过世。
In Genesis 22, verse 10, Abraham reaches out his hand with the knife to slaughter his son.
那在22章第10节，亚伯拉罕他就是举刀，然后准备要杀他的儿子。
In both accounts, an angel calls to the parent by their name to prevent the child's death.
那在两个情况当中，都有一个天使出现，然后叫这个父母的名字。
In Genesis 21, verses 7 and 18,
在21章17到18节，
God hears the voice of the child, and an angel of God calls to Hagar from heaven.
然后神听见童子的声音，所以神的使者就从天上呼叫夏甲。
And the angel says, pick the child up.
他说：“你要把童子抱在怀中。”
In Genesis 22:11, the angel of the Lord calls to Abraham from heaven, and he says, Abraham, Abraham.
那在22章11节，耶和华的使者从天上呼叫他说：“亚伯拉罕，亚伯拉罕，
Do not reach out your hand to hurt the lad.
你不可在这童子身上下手。”
In both accounts, the angel provides a reason for saving the child.
那在两个情况当中，天使都有一个理由，为什么要救这个小孩。
In Genesis 21, verses 17 and 18, God saves the child on account of his name.
那在21章17、18节，上帝救了这个小孩，原因是因为他的名。
The name of the child is Yishmael. God hears.
那他救以实玛利的那个名字的意思就是神听见。
In Genesis 22, verse 12, God states the reason for saving the child.
那在22章第12节那边，神说他为什么要救这个小孩。
And in this case, it's because Abraham feared the Lord.
那在这个情况，是因为亚伯拉罕敬畏神。
In both accounts, the parent suddenly sees God's life-saving provision.
那在这两个情况，那个父母都看到了神所供应的一个救赎。
Amazingly, in Genesis 21, verse 19,
那在创世纪21章第19节，
suddenly God opens Hagar's eyes and she sees a well of water.
所以这时候神使夏甲的眼睛明亮，他就看见一口水井，
And so she gives the boy a drink.
所以他就去打了水，然后给这个小孩喝。
In Genesis 22, verse 13,
那在22章13节，
Abraham lifts up his eyes and he sees a ram.
亚伯拉罕举目观看，见到有一只公羊，
And he takes the ram and he sacrifices the ram in place of Isaac.
所以亚伯拉罕就取了那只公羊来，然后代替以撒献为燔祭。
Listen, it is so clear, both in the narrative, in the Hebrew, that these passages are intended to be read in stereo.
所以在希伯来文很明显，就是这两段经文应该是要一起来看的。
And if I may have a word about hermeneutics and exegesis in a seminary,
那如果我在神学院去讲关于解经学的时候，
too often when we read the Bible, we're looking too narrowly.
那很多时候就是我们在读圣经的时候，我们看得太仔细了。
But interpretation involves a passage in the whole book.
就是我们看的就是太局部性这样子，我们应该是要看到它的整个大的画面。
And here we see very clearly that we cannot understand and appreciate Genesis 22 without Genesis 21.
所以在这边我们可以看见，如果我们不了解创世纪21章，我们其实是无法理解22章的。
And we cannot appreciate Genesis 21 without Genesis 22.
那如果没有创世纪22章，我们也无法理解21章。
And very often in Hebrew narrative, the narratives are very close. There are parallels in the narratives.
所以在希伯来的那个叙述文里面的时候，常常那个叙事是非常的那个紧密的，是有关联的。
And many times we find the meanings in the parallels.
那我们常常会看到一些平行的那个叙事，然后我们在这个平行的叙事里面，我们会发现，
And just as often we find the meaning in the differences.
就是我们会在这个平行的那个叙述里面，我们会发现它的意义，然后他们在他们的不同之处，我们也发现它的意义。
And there are some important differences between Genesis 21 and 22.
所以在21和22章里面也有一些很显著的差异。
You'll notice in Genesis 21 it is a passage that's filled with emotion.
我们看到在21章里面，它里面充满着感情，
In Genesis 22 there are no emotions.
但是在22章却没有什么感情。
Very interesting in Genesis 21 verses 11 and 12 when Hagar commands Abraham about the son, it says it was very displeasing in his eyes.
所以在21章11到12节，我们看见就是当夏甲在跟亚伯拉罕讲话的时候，亚伯拉罕他其实非常的忧愁。
In Genesis 21 verse 16, Hagar is agonizing over her son and she leaves him at a distance and is weeping and crying.
然后在21章16节，我们看到夏甲他是非常难过的，然后他在那边大哭。
In Genesis 22, God commands Abraham to take his son and sacrifice him.
但是在22章，我们看到上帝命令亚伯拉罕去献上以撒他的儿子。
There's no emotion.
但是我们这边没有看到任何的
He
情
just
绪，
goes.
他就直接去了，
Nobody's crying, nobody's arguing.
没有人在争辩，没有人在哭。
In Genesis 22, Abraham puts Isaac on the altar, grabs the knife. It says nothing about how he's feeling.
然后在22章，他就直接把以撒放在那个坛上，然后准备杀他。这边都没有描述说他感觉如何。
Unlike Hagar, who's agonizing and can't even look.
但是在21章，我们看到夏甲，他却是很难过，然后他不敢去看这个小孩。
Why the strong emotions in Genesis 21 and no emotions in Genesis 22?
所以为什么21章有那么多的情感丰富，但是22章却没有呢？
I'd like to suggest that Genesis 21 focuses on God's faithfulness to Abraham.
那我想要，我是认为，那是因为21章的重点是要让我们看见神对亚伯拉罕的信实。
And so we see strong emotions in Genesis 21 that are a fitting reminder that Abraham also sacrificed another son of promise.
所以我想要在这边告诉大家，就是21章告诉我们，就是他有很多的情绪，是因为他要提醒我们，亚伯拉罕他也献上了一个应许的孩
Why the
子。
strong emotions?
为什么
Because
情绪？
number one, this is Abraham's son.
为什么那么强烈情绪？因为这个是亚伯拉罕的儿子。
But number two, God had already promised in Genesis 16 special promises for Ishmael.
然后另外原因是因为在16章的时候，上帝对以实玛利也有一个应许。
And so Abraham is worried, what about this child? What about your promises?
所以亚伯拉罕也在那边很紧张，说：“那个你对这个小孩子的应许呢怎么办？”
And so in Genesis 21, we see God's dramatic rescue of Ishmael.
所以在21章，我们看到上帝他非常戏剧性的拯救了以实玛利。
Yet in Genesis 22, the chapter is not focused on God's faithfulness,
但在22章，那个重点不是神对亚伯拉罕的信实，
but Abraham's faithfulness.
而是亚伯拉罕的信实。
And so here we see a stellar example of somebody who quietly trusts and believes God.
所以在这边我们看到一个例子，是有一个人他非常顺服神，然后他很安静、很静默。
Genesis 22 shows Abraham's awesome demonstration of faith.
所以在22章，我们看见亚伯拉罕展现了很伟大的信心。
But please understand, the whole story of Ishmael involves God's faithfulness.
但是请理解，就是以实玛利的故事其实要彰显神的信实。
Another big difference between the two stories.
这两个故事还有另外一个很大的差别，
In Genesis 21, the angel calls from heaven only once.
就是在21章的时候，天使从天上呼喊他的名字只有一次，
In Genesis 22, the angel calls from heaven twice.
但是在22章，天使呼喊2次。
And what's really important is when we read the second time that God calls to Abraham.
那很重要一点就是在上帝在呼喊亚伯拉罕第2次的时候，
In verses 15 through 18, we have the promise of the Abrahamic covenant,
就是在22章15到18节的时候，接下来就是谈到亚伯拉罕之约，
where God promises to give Abraham abundant seed.
就是上帝应许亚伯拉罕会有很多的后裔，
But God also promises to bless all nations through Isaac.
然后上帝也应许会透过以撒祝福万国万民。
So what's really important here, let's think about why this second call.
所以我们来想一想，为什么天使有呼喊第2次？
I would argue it's because of Isaac's importance in God's redemptive purposes.
那我认为是因为以撒在神的救赎计划的重要的角色。
He is the child of promise through whom God is going to bless the whole world.
因为他就是神应许透过他，然后会拯救这个世界。
Now I see earlier in Genesis 21 Abraham's great love for Ishmael.
那在21章，我看到亚伯拉罕对于以实玛利那个大的爱、父爱。
But in Genesis 22 we see that a biblical love for the sons of Ishmael cannot reject Israel's importance in the plan of God.
但在22章，我们看见虽然对以实玛利有很大的爱，但是并不能因为这个爱而拒绝了，排除掉了神对于
So we cannot, people that you love the sons of Ishmael doesn't mean you reject God's purposes through Israel in the plan of God.
就是你虽然对以实玛利很有爱，但是你并不能排除掉神透过犹太人、以色列人要完成的救赎计划。
I'd like to tie all this together now.
那我想把我刚刚上面所说的一切整合在一起。
I like to ask the question, okay, so what?
所以我喜欢问一个问题，就是然后呢？
What does this mean for me? I'm a pastor. I'm a future pastor.
所以这对我有什么意义呢？我是一个未来要做牧师的。
I'm a professor. What does this have to do with me here? I live in Taiwan. This is Israel.
我是一个教授，然后我住在台湾，这个跟我到底有什么关系？
I'd like to give you two biblical truths that I hope will change your thought life and your prayer life concerning Jews and Arabs.
所以我希望我可以给你两个圣经的真理，然后它可以改变你的生命、你的属灵生命，还有你的祷告的生命。
I want you to notice first,
所以第一点
Isaac needs Ishmael
就是以撒需要以实玛利，
because Isaac's entire future depends on Ishmael.
因为以撒他的整个未来是那个就是跟以实玛利有关。
You say, what are you talking about?
那你可能想说，你到底在说什么？
Imagine if God would have let Ishmael die under the bushes.
你可以想象，如果上帝允许让以实玛利在那个树底下死掉了，
God had already promised promises about Ishmael.
但是上帝之前已经对于以实玛利有过了应许。
If God didn't fulfill his promises for Ishmael,
如果上帝并没有去那个应验他对以实玛利的应许，
what hope would we have that God would fulfill his promises for Isaac?
那我们又有什么东西可以确保上帝也会对以撒去那个应允他的应许？
It is not either or.
这个并不是那个就是二选一。
God in Genesis 16:10 made promises to Ishmael that he would multiply his seed.
因为在第16章第10节的时候，上帝应许以实玛利他的后裔也会成为一个大国。
In Genesis 17 verse 20, God says, I will bless him and make him a great nation.
在第17章20节的时候，他说他会祝福他，然后使他的后裔成为大国。
And so in Genesis 21:18, God says, I will make him a great nation.
然后在21章18节又再次说，就是他会让他成为一个大国。
The strong emotions in Genesis 21 are very fitting for a child of promise.
所以21章我们看到那个情绪，就是很合理的解释为什么，因为以实玛利他是一个应许之子。
Because of Ishmael's importance in the plan of God, we should agonize over them.
因为神对以实玛利的计划，所以我们听到说他要死的时候，我们应该是很有情绪的。
Are you emotionally committed to the well-being of Ishmael's sons?
那你对于以实玛利的后代，你对他们有任何负担吗？
If you're not emotionally committed to the well-being of Ishmael's children, you're nothing like your father Abraham.
如果你对以实玛利的后代没有任何的情感，不关心他们的死活，那你跟他的父亲跟亚伯拉罕一点都不像。
In Genesis 17:18, Abraham prayed, "Would that Ishmael live before you."
他说在17章18节的地方，他说那个
In Genesis 17:18, he prays, "Would that Ishmael live before you."
亚伯拉罕就对神说：“但愿以实玛利活在你面前。”
That is our prayer at Israel College of the Bible.
所以那就是我们以色列圣经学院的祷告。
Would that Ishmael live before you.
但愿以实玛利活在你面前。
Would you pour out your spirit on the Muslims?
愿你在穆斯林的身上浇灌你的灵。
Would you save the sons of Ishmael?
愿你拯救以实玛利的后裔。
That is the father Abraham's heart.
那就是亚伯拉罕的心肠，
And that's God's heart.
那也是神的心肠。
Let us consistently and continually pray for Ishmael's sons. Would that Ishmael's sons live before you.
我们愿我们可以持续的为他们来祷告，然后愿以实玛利的后代活在神的面前。
The second truth.
那在第二个真理，
Not only does Isaac need Ishmael,
那不只是以撒需要以实玛利，
but Ishmael needs Isaac because his entire future depends on him.
以实玛利也需要以撒，因为以实玛利的整个未来也需要以撒。
What would have happened if God did not save Isaac?
那如果上帝没有拯救以撒，会发生什么事呢？
God promised through Isaac the blessings of the entire world.
神是透过以撒，然后 那个应许了关于整个世界的祝福，
including the blessing of Ishmael and his sons.
然后这也包含了以实玛利以及他的后裔的祝福。
In John 4:22, we learn that salvation is of the Jews.
我们在约翰福音第4章22节，我们知道救恩是从犹太人而来。
God saved Isaac not only because he loves the Jewish people.
神救了以撒，不只是因为他爱犹太人，
God saved Isaac because he loves the Arabs,
他救了以撒，因为他爱阿拉伯人，
because he loves the
因
Chinese,
为他爱华人，
because he loves the Japanese and the Germans.
因为他爱日本人，他爱德国人。
I want to conclude by a story.
我想要在最后讲一个故事。
Years ago, we were invited, me and an Arab colleague, to speak at a conference in Japan.
那几年前我们在日本的一个会议上面，我在那边演讲，然后我们也有一个阿拉伯同事一起在那边演讲。
The Jewish guy spoke to 1,200 Japanese about God's love for Arabs.
那犹太的那一位讲员，他就对那个12000名日本学生去讲说上帝对阿拉伯人的爱。
The Arab brother spoke about God's love for the Jews.
而那个阿拉伯的弟兄，他所谈的是神对于犹太人的爱。
At the end of the conference, my Arab brother came up to the platform to conclude the conference.
所以在那个讲座的最后，我的阿拉伯的同事就上来，然后去做一个结尾。
And I didn't think anything of it, but we hugged.
我什么都没有想，然后我们就拥抱了。
That's normal at Israel College of the Bible.
在我们以色列圣经学院，这是很自然的事情，
Because God loves Jews and Arabs, we love each other.
因为上帝爱犹太人，也爱阿拉伯人，然后我们也彼此相爱。
Have you ever seen 1,200 Japanese Christians crying?
你有看过12000名日本的基督徒哭吗？
I did.
我那时候看到了，
They saw God's love demonstrated in this hug.
他们在我们的拥抱当中，他们看见了神的爱。
And then the Japanese host of the conference said, "What about the Japanese?"
然后日本的那个主持人就说：“那日本人怎么办？”
So three guys, a Jewish guy, a Japanese guy, and an Arab guy, were all hugging and crying.
所以那时候在台上就是3个大男人，一个日本人，一个犹太人，一个阿拉伯人，那边彼此的拥抱，然后哭。
After the conference,
然后在讲座结束之后，
there were about 400 people lined up, not to meet me, but to meet my brother Thomas.
那有400个学生，他们排队要见那个他的同事，那个汤马斯，
They were all crying.
他们都在哭。
And one at a time they came to him, they said, "I want to repent.
然后他们到他面前说，他们想要悔改。
I've hated the Arabs. I've hated the Muslims.
他说：“我们曾经恨犹太人，曾经恨阿拉伯人，曾经恨穆斯林。
But because of what I've seen and heard here at this conference,
但是因为今天在讲座我听到的内容，
I'm going to start praying for the revival of Arabs.
我要开始为阿拉伯人的复兴祷告。
Would you join us to pray for the people of Israel and her neighbors?"
你愿意加入我们一起为以色列还有他的邻居来祷告吗？
Isaac needs Ishmael.
以撒需要以实玛利，
Ishmael needs Isaac.
以实玛利也需要以
And
撒。
would that God raise up a church that has a great commission focus for the Middle East and not a political focus.
所以愿神可以兴起一个教会，他是以大使命的眼光，为着阿拉伯还有犹太来祷告，的火热的心，而不是从政治角度。
Thank you very much.
谢谢大家。